So, you've got a composite deck. You probably got it because you heard it's low maintenance, right? But after a few years of sun beating down on it, even a tough Trex deck can start to look, well, a little sad and faded. The big question is, what can you do about it without ripping the whole thing out and starting over? Well, let's get into it. It's honestly so frustrating. You look out at your deck and it just doesn't have that life it used to. And the idea of dropping thousands and thousands of dollars on a full replacement, I mean, for most of us, that's just not happening. But what if I told you there's a much smarter way to handle this? All right, so let's just cut to the chase. Can you actually paint Trex decking? We're going to give you the straight answer. And let me tell you, it's good news. But, and this is important, there are a few key details you absolutely have to know if you want the job to last. So there you have it. The simple answer is a big, resounding yes. You are not stuck with that tired, faded deck. You can totally transform it and get a finish that looks brand new. This is exactly how you bring that outdoor space back to life. Okay, now here's that but I was talking about, and you're going to want to pay attention to this. Not all Trex is the same. If your deck was built before 2010, the material is a bit more like a sponge. It's porous, so paint will soak in and stick pretty easily. But if your deck is newer, it has this capped shell, which is basically a layer of protective plastic. It's awesome for preventing stains and fading, but for paint, it's like trying to paint on glass. That's why a special bonding primer isn't just a suggestion. It's 100% non-negotiable. All right, ready to get this done? Let's put together your shopping list. Look, getting a pro-level finish that's going to last for years all comes down to using the right stuff. So think of this as your official toolkit for a deck restoration that actually works. First up, and you can't skip this, is the bonding primer. Zinsser Bullseye 123 is pretty much the go-to for this. Here's why it's so critical. It literally creates a chemical bridge that lets your paint grip onto that slick, plasticky surface of the composite decking. If you skip this step, I can almost guarantee your new paint job is going to start peeling. Next up, the paint itself. You can't just grab any can of exterior paint. You need something that's made for floors, something that's meant to be walked on. A product like Rust-Oleum's porch and floor coating is perfect because it's a flexible acrylic. That means it can expand and contract when the weather changes without cracking, and it's tough enough to resist scuffs and fading from the sun. But hey, maybe you don't want that solid painted look. What if your deck has a few hairline cracks, or you just want to hide some imperfections? Well, that's where a solid stain like Kills Over Armor comes in. It's a really thick coating that does an incredible job of filling in those little flaws and giving you a nice textured finish that can even mimic a wood grain look. So, paint or stain, which ways should you go? Let's break it down really quick. Painting is going to give you maximum durability. We're talking 5, maybe even 7 years, and a really clean, modern look. Staining, on the other hand, gives you that more natural, textured vibe, and it's often a one-step job, but you'll probably need to do touch-ups a little more often. It really just comes down to your personal goal. If you want a super durable, sleek, modern gray deck, go with paint. If you want to restore a more classic wood look and hide a bit of wear and tear, stain is your best bet. Okay, you've figured out what you're buying. Now for the fun part. How do you actually do this? Let's walk through the game plan. We've broken it down into 4 super simple, totally manageable steps. I promise if you follow these, you'll get a finish that looks like you hired a pro. Step 1, you have to deep clean the deck. And I mean really clean it. No shortcuts. Paint won't stick to dirt or mildew, period. Step 2, a light sanding. Now relax, you're not trying to strip the whole deck down. You just want to scuff up the surface with some 240 grit sandpaper. This just dulls that factory shine and gives the primer something to bite into. Step 3, apply that all-important primer. Just one thin, even coat is all it takes. This is the secret sauce for a long-lasting job. And finally, step 4, roll on your top coat. Use a roller for the big, flat boards and a brush to get in between the gaps. And seriously, do yourself a favor and check the weather forecast first. You don't want rain ruining all your hard work. So, after all is said and done, is this whole project really worth the time and effort? Let's get to the final verdict. Because this isn't just a weekend chore. When you do this right, it's one of the smartest, highest return investments you can make for your home. Let's just be totally upfront about the pros and cons here. The pros are, well, they're huge. You save a ton of money, you instantly make your outdoor space look modern and new, and you actually increase your home's value. Now the cons. Yeah, you'll have to do some maintenance, a few touch-ups every couple of years, and you should be aware that it might void the original Trex warranty. But honestly, for an older deck that's already looking faded, the trade-off is a no-brainer. The benefits just blow the drawbacks out of the water.
And this right here really drives the point home. We're not talking about saving a couple $100. We are talking about saving thousands of dollars compared to a full replacement. The return on your investment of time and a few cans of paint is just, it's absolutely massive.
And that really just brings us to the bottom line. This quote from the source material just says it all perfectly. As long as your deck boards are still strong and safe, if the only problem is that it just looks dead, then painting isn't just an option. It is the single best return on investment project you can possibly do. So a beautiful, modern, completely revitalized deck isn't some far-off dream that's going to cost a fortune. It's literally one weekend of work away from being your reality. So the only real question left to ask yourself is, what color are you going to choose?